comments about her from her bio. The rest you can read on your own. But I will mention that Malaak is a leading human rights activist in her own American neighborhoods, in global communities in Africa, the Caribbean, and Europe. From an early engagement with Operation Crossroads Africa in Ghana, where she built 3 schools, she has engaged with the problems of the people of the African nations and diaspora. Malaak Shabazz is a board member of the Malcolm X and Dr. Betty Shabazz Memorial and Educational Center, the Shabazz Center, a depository and community center for engagement with current issues stemming from her outstanding family's commitment to the historical struggle for human rights and social justice for all peoples of African descent. She has traveled extensively and is a major speaker in many fora within and outside of the United States of America. The plaque that we will present to Malaak Shabazz reads, Philadelphia Martin Luther King Jr. Association for Nonviolence Incorporated presents the 2012 Drum Major Award for Global Human Rights in recognition, Malaak, of your steadfast commitment to the legacies of your parents, Malcolm X and Betty Shabazz, and your major contributions to the United Nations Campaign for Human Rights. On this 30th Annual Awards and Benefit Luncheon, Monday, January 16, 2012, Malaak Shabazz.
Distinct honor and a blessed privilege to present this award to you, my dear lady, considering all of the despair, all of the hatred, and all of the anger that has been directed to you and your family. It is time that we as Americans of goodwill, of peace and love, it's time that we started to undo that and restore love and harmony in your lives. And we honor you and we consider you blessed to be among us. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. I just have one question I'd like to ask everybody in the room. How many people knew that 2011 was the International Year of People of African Descent? Can I see some hands? Did anybody even know that? The UN designates a year, every year, the International Year of, and yet most African people of African descent didn't even know that. I didn't see any hands in here except one back there. That's a shame. December 5th, 2011, General Assembly had a closed meeting to address that issue and to extend the year to a decade and discuss the elimination of racism. March 21st of this year is the International Day of the Elimination of Racism. People need to understand that. When you're going online, instead of downloading video games and garbage, you can go to the UN website and find out what's happening on global issues. I mean, there's no reason why we don't know this. So on behalf of the people struggling for liberty, especially throughout the African diaspora, and you have the courage and perseverance to stand for justice, liberty, and against oppression, I feel humbled to be among the 2012 bell ringers and happy on the memory of Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X, and all those who made the ultimate sacrifice. We can only continue to use their example and follow our own hearts to gain strength for the mammoth undertaking that they had the vision to leave a blueprint for all of us to follow. From the Declaration of Independence, the Liberty Bell, to the Declaration of Human Rights. There was a clear mandate signed on December 10th, 1948, that has yet to be fulfilled. And it states, all human beings are born free and equal. Everyone is entitled to the same rights without discrimination of any kind. Everyone has the human right to life, liberty, and security. No one shall be held in slavery or servitude. No one shall be subjected to torture or cruel or degrading treatment or punishment. Everyone has the human right to be recognized everywhere as a person before the law. Everyone is equal before the law and has the human right to equal protection. Everyone has the human right to justice. Everyone has the human right to a fair trial, to be presumed innocent until proven guilty, to privacy, to freedom of movement, to leave and return to one's country, to seek asylum from persecution, to a right to nationality, the right to own property, the freedom of
Philadelphia Martin Luther King Jr. Association for Nonviolence Incorporated presents the 2012 Drum Major Award for International and National Youth Development to Ilyasah Shabazz in recognition of her steadfast commitment to the legacies of her parents, Malcolm X and Betty Shabazz, and for her ongoing contributions in the important area of youth education and leadership development. On this 30th Annual Awards and Benefit Luncheon, Monday, January 16th, 2012, Ilyasah Shabazz.
Thank you very much. It really is such an honor, and especially for Malaak and I, to be here together, to have rang the freedom, the bell that, you know, it was also historic. And it's such an honor to do that on behalf of our parents, freedom fighters, on Dr. King's birthday. So it was really such an honor. And Dr. Tucker, Mr. Tucker, we really do thank you for carrying on your wife's work and for presenting these awards. My premise is very simple. I believe that every child should have an opportunity to feel good about him or herself. That every child, regardless of race, creed, or gender, should feel safe and secure simply to be. To be beautiful, to be proud, to be happy, to be healthy, to be educated, functional human beings prepared to participate in the mainstream economy. People often ask, what's it like being a daughter of Malcolm X and Dr. Betty Shabazz? I was raised very proud to be of African ancestry, very proud to be a Muslim, and very proud to be a woman. My father often said, when you teach a man, you teach a community, and when you teach a woman, you raise a nation. And I'm sure all of you here would agree with us. And so we understand why Dr. Shabazz married this great man. I recall watching my mother's efforts working in the cause of human rights and empowering women in particular. Our mother, Dr. Betty Shabazz, was just in her 20s. She was a very young woman when she witnessed the assassination, the brutal assassination of her husband. 1 week prior, on Valentine's Day, a Molotov cocktail was thrown into the nursery of her home, where my sisters and I slept as babies. When my father was killed, my mother was left traumatized, frightened, and alone. She was a young woman with 4 babies and pregnant with my youngest twin sisters, one of whom was Malaak. I've often asked myself, with 6 babies, widowed, and the wife of Malcolm X, the wife of a young man who challenged a government that had been historically unjust to its own citizens, to its own people, how is this young woman, Betty Shabazz, able to overcome such obstacles and still raise 6 daughters and still dedicate her life to giving back to others and still earn a PhD? How? She never, I make sure I tell this to the young people, and I often ask them first in the audience, how many have 6 babies? And most of them don't raise their hands, so we know that there are no excuses. But my mother never accepted no or I can't as an answer. My mother survived because of her faith in God and because she knew the importance of self-respect, self-esteem, and the understanding of history to empower her. She raised her daughters with the knowledge of true history as a means to develop our healthy identity and with an understanding of our obligation to others. My father, Malcolm X, was only in his 20s when he joined the civil rights movement. He campaigned for every breathing human being. Malaak and Ilyasah Shabazz, Malcolm X, rose to the defense of African Americans brutalized by discrimination, and this has to be a man of compassion, integrity, responsibility, and all these great things that we need in our leaders. He challenged white supremacy and racial injustice. He redefined the American civil rights movement to include a human rights agenda, and he worked tirelessly to unite Africa and the diaspora towards a singular international struggle for freedom and independence. Just 2 more seconds. Malcolm X accepted the mantle of leadership in the human rights struggle because he understood the oneness of humanity, that we are all brothers and sisters in the family of God. He awakened us with information of our heritage, with information to provide us with a healthy identity as persons of African ancestry as we navigated through the challenges of institutional racism. He awakened us with information that helped to form a healthy identity, that African Americans were not simply descendants of slaves, but that we were enslaved African people in bondage, that our history did not begin in slavery, but that our ancestors, healthy and skilled African men and women, because we're often led to believe that we were not educated, we were not healthy, we had the big stomachs, and we were swinging around on vines, but that we were healthy and skilled in order to replicate all that we did as architects of great civilizations, resurrected monuments, that they built those phenomenal pyramids, cities, ships, that architects are continuing to uncover that these healthy and skilled African men and women were priests, they were multilinguists, scientists, physicists, astrologers, warriors, farmers, musicians, dancers, artists, mothers, fathers, brothers, sisters, sons, and daughters. He restored our identity and helped us to know that long before there was a Harvard or a Yale, for example, that there indeed was the University of Timbuktu, where Black African scholars conferred degrees to citizens of the world. Today, I'm asking you to look around and asking, what do you see? If you see injustice, if you see inequality and a lack of freedom anywhere, then understand that the struggle is not over. Look around you. If you're willing to stand for something, commit yourself to giving back. On this special occasion, may we all stand worthy to honor the legacy of our ancestors, honor the legacy of Queen of Sheba, Queen Hatshepsut, Cleopatra, Ramses, Menelik. May we stand worthy to honor the Congolese Queen Nzinga, who was the greatest military strategist in the year of the 1600s that ever confronted the armed forces of Portugal against Angola. Her aim was the total destruction of the slave trade. Let us stand to honor those who lived a purpose-driven life, all of whom gave to humanity, who contributed to history, because this is the meaning of life, to contribute to something. We will stand together worthy to say thank you to Kwame Nkrumah, Patrice Lumumba, Stephen Biko, Nelson and Winnie Mandela. We will stand together worthy to honor Toussaint Louverture, Jean-Jacques Dessalines, African revolutionary generals and their African brothers and sisters in bondage who took a stance in the 1800s and overthrew their French oppressors and claimed their freedom and land in Haiti. We will stand together here in the U.S. to honor Frederick Douglass, W.B. Du Bois, Denmark Vesey, Nat Turner, David Walker, Harriet Tubman, and Fannie Lou Hamer, who fought against injustice. We will stand worthy with the great historians Carter G. Woodson, John Henrik Clark, Dr. Sheikh Anta Diop, and J.A. Rogers. Let us stand worthy to honor and understand the works of Frederick Douglass, Denmark Vesey. Let us stand worthy and honor Dr. Martin Luther King, Sister Coretta Scott King, Malcolm X, Dr. Betty Shabazz, and of course, the Honorable C. Dolores Tucker. And as we pay tribute to to Dr. Martin Luther King on his 83rd birthday, one of the greatest freedom fighters of the civil rights movement, may each one of us emulate his wisdom, courage, commitment, purpose, responsibility, and selfless sacrifice to truly create a better world for ourselves as well as for generations yet to come, our children. And in that manner, our blessings will continue forever. Thank you very much for this award.